You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980. My name is Les Brown, and today we're talking about taking a stand, having courage to take a stand. And there are things that we're experiencing, liberties that we're enjoying that we just take for granted. Went in a drugstore to get some energy bars before coming to work today, and I was thinking about when I was a kid, that was not an option. I think about the words of James Weldon Johnson, "Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We've come over a way that with tears has been watered. We've come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered." The things that we're experiencing, liberties that we're enjoying, that we take for granted each and every day, that somebody paid a price, somebody stood up, somebody spoke up and made a difference to make it possible. That's what we're talking about right now. Hello, Greg. Thank you so much for calling in, and I want to hear, what is your story? The number to call is 888-539-2980. Greg, what story do you have to share with us?
Well, first of all, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, love your show too, by the way.
Thank you.
So I went to a local amusement park, and they had a craft show that they do every year at a certain time of the year. So I went there, and my wife loves carousels. So there was a man there who was hand carving these beautiful carousels, beautiful work. And so he was talking to people, telling them how he teaches a class on how to do this. So, being that my wife loves carousels, I wanted to take the class. I'm a 6'1" guy, pretty big and heavy, and this man, I walked over and asked this man about the class, and he said, "You can't come to my class." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "I don't have enough square footage." And he looked at me, and I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "Well, if you can't control what you put in your mouth, you can't control a knife to carve my carving knife."
You gotta be lying to me. Come on.
I was so angry, and it took me, and I stopped, and I looked at him. I said, "Well, quite the contrary. Obviously, based on my size, I'm pretty good with a knife and fork." Shouldn't be much of an issue here.
I love that, Greg. I love it.
So people were gathering around, and I said, "Are you serious about this, or are you just, jerking around?" And what he did is he goes, "No, I'm not going to get you in my class." He says, "But here, let me give you a parting gift." And he took a peanut out of his pocket and gave me a peanut. And
no.
I looked at him, a shelled peanut, and I looked at him, and I stuck my hand out, and he put it in my hand, and I took it and I crushed it on his chest, and I looked at him. I said, "That's what you would give an elephant." I said, "Let me just tell you something." I said, "It's people like you that just make things much worse than what they absolutely need to be." And I said, "So you're telling me because I'm a heavy-set guy, you're not going to let me into your class?" I said, "That's discrimination." So then I started getting, all these people are standing around. So then I finally said, "So you're going to tell me you're not going to let that man into," just pointing to people in the crowd, "you're not going to let that man into your class because he's a colored man. You're not going to let that man into your class because he's bald. You're not going to let this man into your class because he has more hair than you, or this man because he's taller, or this woman because she's pretty, or whatever." And now all these people are standing around, and he's starting to freak out. He goes, "Look, I just want you to leave." Yes. And I said, "That's exactly what I want you to do, is leave." I said,
so how did that turn out? What happened with that? How did that turn out?
Well, ultimately what happened is the security from the place came over, and we told him what happened, and they walked over to the gentleman, and after a bit they called me over, and they said, "Hey, he has something to offer you." And I'm like, "What, another peanut?" And he said, "No." He goes, "Look, I'm sorry, what I did was wrong, and you can pick from any carousel here." And so I walked over and grabbed my wife. I said, "Honey, I want you to come over and look at these carousels, and I want you to pick any one you want." And so she said, "Nah, come on, we can't afford it." I said, "Just pick any one you want."
Yes.
So she picked out one, and I walked out of there with the carousel.
Oh, fantastic! That's good reservation. It was magnanimous on his part to apologize and then to give you something, and you were gracious enough to take it. Listen, thank you so much for listening and to sharing your story.
Take care.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Let me tell you something. Life is so interesting. There's some fascinating stories and people in this life. Hello, how are you?
Good. Is this left?
Yes, I want to first of all just thank you for your patience and holding on, Bill. And I want to hear your story, Bill, about taking a stand. You have an unusual story. Everybody, listen to Bill. Don't mess with Bill. Talk to me, Bill.
Well, they say some people are born into greatness and others have it thrust upon them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my father was good at thrusting that upon you.
Yes.
Back in 1968, I got moved out from a mansion in Chatsworth, California, up into up in the neighborhood up in Oakland, California.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of fell in with a wrong group of kids and all. Well, anyway, one led to another, and I'm out there doing a little shoplifting in the local mom and pop store, and I got caught.
You were doing some shoplifting, and you got caught.
Absolutely. Everybody else got cleared out, and I'm the only one that got caught.
Yes.
It might have been my easy to identify pasty face. I don't know, but nonetheless, so I get caught. The police come and take all the information, and they were the least of my worries. My father was by far the biggest worry. So he finds out. We go down there the next day. He drives on down there because he wants to make sure I get to apologize to these fine folks, and so he says. As we walk in there, he looks down, and this is an old couple. It is a true mom-and-pop operation. She's in a wheelchair. He's about half blind. And my dad gets a look at these people, and he goes, "Oh, you are going to catch such a beating when we get home."
Oh, my God.
So he introduces himself and says, I'm the father of the thief here. And he said, my son will be working for you for free for the entire summer. Summer was maybe a couple days more of school, and then we're off for the summer.
Yes.
And they were very nice. No, that's not necessary. He says, honestly, it's not an option. He says he will be here. He will be putting in 8 hours a day, and it will be for free. Says, and you could do me a favor and allow it. I think he's got a lesson to learn. Anyway, I got to like these people a lot, and like I said, it was kind of a tough neighborhood. And we'd get other kids coming in there, some about my size, some about twice my size. And they'd come in to rip these people off, and I'd walk up and say, you know what, y'all need to leave now, and you can unload your coats before you go. Which is kind of interesting because they said, you know, we're going to just beat the so and so out of you when you get out of here. I said, well, that may be true, but you're still not leaving here with that stuff because I know you're thieves and you are leaving. And I got to tell you, even back then, I didn't mind fighting. I was kind of I like to fist fight a lot, but
yes.
I got more than my share of with kids with 30 and 40 pounds on me.
But let me tell you, but what I love, Bill, is that here you were the former thief, and now you were catching the thieves, and you knew what they were doing because you used to do it.
Absolutely.
You say absolutely, man. Look here, that's a great story.
Yeah, oddly enough, my father also grew up in a very tough neighborhood and went on to become a police officer. And as he told me, he said, you know what, a good cop is about 49% criminal and about 51% not. He says that's how they catch people, is by that. He says, I've never known a Boy Scout police officer that was worth a damn.
Oh, my goodness, I got to go. Listen, thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate you. Something Bill said coming on. He said, some people are born into greatness and others have it thrust upon them. That's worth ending the program on that note. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you. My name is Les Brown. You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980.